Okay, so if you look at this and look at this worksheet, the first thing says y squared equals 12x. What conic did we have that only had one of the variables squared?
Is this on homework or no?
This is that. Well, no, actually, this. Let me turn. All right. So on number one, what kind of conic did we have that had one variable squared and one variable not squared? There was only one kind. What was it?
The good kind.
It was a parabola. So number one is a parabola. We're just going to write down today what each one of these are, and then we're going to call it a day, okay? That was a parabola. Number two is, it has an x squared and a y squared, nothing in the denominator, and it's got a 46.24 on the other side. What do you think that is? It's a circle, yeah. Remember, if it had a fraction and a 1 on the other side, it was probably an ellipse or a parabola. But that's going to be a circle. And again, if you're listening to the video, we are just identifying the conic. We are not going to worry about graphing them. We are just wrapping up today. Number three, you have fractions. You have a 1 on the right-hand side, and there's a plus sign in between your two square terms.
That's it's not an ellipse.
It is an ellipse. It is an ellipse. The hyperbola was where they were subtracted. Oh, by the way, I have papers. Don't let me forget to give y'all papers before y'all leave.
I love papers.
Oh, yes, I know. Ellipse. Now, the next one has a subtraction sign. So what is it? It's a hyperbola. Yep. Okay. Now look at number 5. What do you think that one is? It's an ellipse, yes. It's got the fractions, it's got the 1, it's got the plus sign, it's an ellipse. Good. Okay. What about number 6?
Circle.
Yes, a circle. No fractions. You got a number on the other side that's not 1, so that's going to be a circle. Good. All right. Number 7. What do y'all think that one is? It's a hyperbola. You're right, it's hyperbola. That subtraction sign, the 1, the fraction, all that says it's a hyperbola. I knew what it meant. Okay, and number 8. Good. How do you know that? You're right. Oh, and there's a mistake there. This should be an X here. Man, this thing's full of mistakes. I have not used this far before. I have not gone this far through with this. A lot of times I'll go back to the book, but yeah, they should have had an X on it. We should have had one square thing and one thing that wasn't squared, and that should have been a...
You should keep on one paper all the mistakes so that way you can change it for next
I need to just go back and edit this whole thing. I'll probably have time to do that tomorrow. Okay, so now looking down at the bottom, here's what I think would be helpful here. If you're looking at number 9, I think it would be helpful to group some terms together. So maybe we put the x squared and the minus 6x, and then we see there's a plus a y squared and a plus 4y. And that 12, I could probably move that to the other side. Couldn't I add 12 to both sides? Okay. Now this is where the little formula sheet over here might be helpful. Do you notice that the x squared and the y squared, they have the same sign, don't they? So this is either going to be a circle or it's going to be an ellipse because we have a positive x squared term and a positive y squared term. So we know it's not a parabola because we don't have one thing that's squared and one thing that's not. We know it's not an ellipse because we'd had one of them have a negative sign or a subtraction sign in front of it. And so the circle, it says if A equals C, and what the A equals C part is the number out in front of the x squared and the y squared term. Isn't it a 1 in both cases, right? So if you've got the same number out front, that means this is going to be a circle, okay? How could I figure the equation out? Well, what I have to do here, what did we do before that I said we wouldn't?
You grouped and then you moved.
Yeah, I could complete the square, right? I grouped them together like this, and I said, well, I take negative 6 divided by 2 and square it. Negative 6 divided by 2 is what? Negative 3, and negative 3 squared is plus 9. And that would have made x minus 3 squared, just to kind of review a little bit. And then, and then over on the other side, I add the 9 on the other side. And then y squared plus 4y, if I took the 4 and I divided it by 2, I'd get 2. And then I squared the 2. 2 squared is 4. That would make y plus 4 squared. And 4 squared is 16, so I'd actually need to add another 16 over here also. Actually, I shouldn't have added them there. I should have added them down here. 12 and then, what was it, 16 and, was it 14 or 9? Thanks, I couldn't remember. So the equation would be x minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared. And let's see, 9 and 12 is 21, and 21 and 16 is what, 37? So this would be a circle, and the radius would be like the square root of 37. We can actually complete the square and figure out what it is a little, pretty easily, but most people don't like going through that process just to figure it out, and so that's why there's these, kind of guidelines over here to help you kind of see what's going on if you've got the little formula sheet out that's in your notes that says identifying conics. Since the x squared term and the y squared term are both positive, we know it's either a circle or it's an ellipse because both of those had pluses and had 2 things squared in them. We know this is an ellipse. Here's how you know. The only time it's a circle is if the number in front of the x squared and y squared are the same. Since I got a 4 here and there's a 1 here, they're not the same, this makes this an ellipse. And I could complete the square on this and I could figure out the equation. Y'all want to?
No.
Okay, we don't have to then. Okay, we've done some complete the square, so I'm not going to, we don't have to do that, okay? All right, so then moving to number 11. So let's find our x squared term and our y squared term. Here's my x squared term, here's my y squared term. Do they have the same sign? No, one's a positive, one's a negative. What's the only formula we've had that has a subtraction sign in it? Hyperbola, right? So that's just a hyperbola. So even if we don't have it in the standard form, we can kind of just look at some of the terms and figure out what it is, basically.
What was number 9 again?
Number 9 was a circle. That was the one we actually did the complete the square part on. And last but not least, number 12. What'd you say?
Is this really all we're doing?
Yes. So you got an x squared term. Do you have a y squared term? No. Do you have a y? It's not squared, is it? So what is this? Parabola. Oh my, we're done.